Welcome to Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast. My name is Shawn,
And I'm Carter.
and damn, we're in a tight spot.
We're in a tight spot!
I've been sitting on that. I watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, our film of the week. I watched half of it last night and then got sleepy, and I finished the rest of it this morning.
I did everything this morning. I had a tight week. So I got up early.
Damn, I haven't got a tight week.
Yeah, I did a SCHP marathon. Watched Brother Art Thou, and then right to American Horror Story. It was a bit of a change, bit of a switch in
I bet.
tone, and
I bet.
yeah, yeah. But they're both excellent in their own way.
And we'll talk about them
But not
in a
right
little.
now.
We have news.
We have news. This is like
Recently announced news.
ripped from the headlines news. Like this just happened
We're
last.
actually responding to something like within 24 hours. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we should maybe eventually we'll just have like a live stream of this, and we'll just talk about the. It'll be like CNN, but Shawn and Carter. Shawn and Carter have a 24-hour news
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
network. Yes.
The groundwork is laid. We're doing it.
Yeah. Just so long as
SCNN.
yeah, CNN. That's perfect. Anyway, so some people might not even heard about this because it's so new. I'm so excited. So people know about Arrested Development, right?
Yeah, we've talked about the movie and the potential
We've
episodes.
talked about that. Well, they have found a home.
Is it HBO?
It is not HBO.
Is it Showtime?
Not Showtime.
Is it Stars?
It's not even Stars.
I'm running out of channels.
Well, that's because you're looking in the wrong place. It's
What?
heading to Netflix.
Netflix? I thought Netflix was going out of business, Dad.
Yeah, I just don't even know where to begin on this. I don't even know what to think. I feel like someone killed my puppy.
According to what I read, they outbid Showtime.
They
So Showtime actually did put in an offer, and Netflix outbid them.
Netflix used all of the rest of their money and out.
Put all of our stock in Mitch Hurwitz.
Yeah, this is one of
You're our only hope.
this makes me nervous. Like some people might think, oh yeah, Netflix, they've been working on this for a long time, trying to get Arrested Development. Oh yeah, they're brilliant. I don't think so.
Oh, I doubt it very much.
Yeah, I think this is oh crap, everybody hates us. Things are going poorly. We're losing members. Oh, let's put all of our money on Arrested Development because people like that.
They do. I Netflix has had Arrested Development streaming for as long as I've had streaming Netflix,
Mhm.
and I have watched it 3 times. How many times has that series been viewed on their website?
Yeah, crazy. I mean, I that's one of my go-tos. Like if I'm, doing something, if I've got like work to do and I would like to have something just playing, I go to Netflix, put on an episode of Arrested Development. Um, yeah, I'm sure that probably played into it. And I would bet Netflix is in such a great position on this because they know so much about their audience that like cable networks don't know certain,
Oh, absolutely.
so they can be like, hey, advertisers, look at this, look at all the people who watch Arrested Development. It's like 18 to 35-year-old men who have money and like buy things, and they're nerds, and they're totally plugged into your
Stop
advertisements.
talking about us like that, Carter.
Whatever. It's true. uh,
Yeah,
but
we'll talk about Community another time, but when I said something about Community getting canceled because of ratings, someone said something about the Nielsen boxes not being in the right places. And that could be true, and that's why Netflix totally gets around that problem. They have exact ratings.
yeah, they know precisely what types of people watch what, how frequently, and when, even. Like that's where everything will go eventually, maybe like 100 years from now. um
Don't give it 100 years. Give it like 10.
10 years, I think 10 years is too. I don't think it's 10
I'm
years.
being
You're optimistic. I think that everything, like from you know broadcast to movies to all music, which is all music is almost there now, to like selling washers and dryers, all of it will have a back end data center that's collecting information, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So kids, if you want to have a, a fallback career that you're preparing for right now, data center logistics, that will be what everyone does. That is plastics in the graduate. Data center logistics.
Yep. If you live in America,
Mm-hmm.
we're not gonna be constructing anything, of
Mm-mm.
course.
No, no,
No manufacturing processes here.
no. We don't make things. We just watch Netflix.
You
But
know what? Since you brought up viewer statistics, I kind of forgot I wanted to mention I ran a little viewer statistics on my own this week for the very first time.
how so?
I tracked all of the links in my link dump.
Good job.
So now I know exactly how many people opened the link dump, first of all, and then how many people clicked on each thing, which told me that Ev's page was the most popular link I provided this week.
Interesting. Interesting.
So
Well,
a lot of people did actually follow through and go vote for Ev, even though it's not helping him now and he's 500 votes behind.
yeah, people, get on
I
that.
can't really do anything about that, guys. I've got an audience, but it's not that big.
Well, at least they're helping out a friend. So
But yeah, it
the
was
people,
interesting to read my statistics on my links.
yeah, we don't track the podcast, which mostly because I think neither of us know how to do that.
Exactly.
If we did, I'd be interested in the viewers statistics. Right now, I'm just sort of.
That's why we ask for the feedback on Twitter, because that is our tracking.
I'll bring up that we are in the Pappy O'Daniel era of politics, not the current era, where it's just like I think this, I think that, it's like no polls, no statistics. It's just well, I think our audience is cool. Our
And you
constituency,
think it, they are.
I do.
Consistency.
Our constituency. Very, very. That's a very unusual way of pronouncing that word. So one of the biggest things that I thought of immediately when I saw that Netflix press release was like, what if Netflix goes out of business before Arrested Development
Yeah,
happens?
it's not even supposed to start until 2013.
Yeah, I'm like, what what is the plan if they go out of business?
It gets sold off just like the rest of them, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's like, that just like makes me nauseous, you know?
I guess it didn't make Mitch Hurwitz nauseous. I don't know how much control he had over that deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And I know that some people were talking about this. I don't know if this is true, but Fox has some say so in all of this, just because they were the original studio and they have some rights in this. I don't know how much or what or whatever. So I, they might have had a hand in the money side of this. And
Could be.
you know, if they're like, yeah, put it on Netflix, that's
I'm trying to think if there are other Fox shows I've noticed already on streaming. There's so much premium. There's so many premium channel shows on streaming.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, they have very small audiences. It's good for them
Yeah.
to get them out there. Like Mad Men. When you were talking about Community, I was doing a little bit of research. I did a video response, and I was looking at like the viewership of popular shows that are very successful on premium channels or on cable channels. They're
Hmm.
just they're smaller than the audience for say Community. Mad Men, which is universally popular, gets maybe 2 or 3 million viewers a week.
Right.
Whereas on network broadcast TV, it's like that would be
That's
pretty.
awful,
That's pretty small,
especially at 8 p.m., which is prime time.
right? You made the point about the Daily Show and its time slot. I brought up American Horror Story has a similar audience size to Community, and it's on at like 10
Yeah.
on a Wednesday
Yeah.
on a very unusual time. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors going into this Netflix decision. I'm concerned, but I'm happy that it's happening. Now we know it's happening.
Yeah. I really think Netflix will weather this.
I think so too.
I want to say this. I think they're too big to fail.
taxpayer bailouts of streaming services.
I'll bail you out, Netflix.
I'm bailing them out. I'm paying them. They're
Yeah,
getting
I
my
am.
money. I didn't leave. I don't understand why people.
I
Well,
canceled my discs. I did not leave,
I canceled my discs as well.
which
I,
is what I think they really wanted us to do.
right, and you know what? I would pay more for the streaming. I think it's pretty cheap.
I don't want to say it, but I would too. I think for the price it is extremely affordable.
Right. The one thing that I would be, I don't know what my thoughts are on this, is this just popped in my head. Like, what if they charge an extra fee to see like their original content? Like, what if I have to pay a separate fee or a single fee to see Arrested
Well,
Development?
if they're going to announce something like that, they're not going to do it for a year because they're really scared of doing that right now.
Right. Speaking of, I did a little Command F on the press release and typed in Reed and Hastings. Doesn't appear once.
He's on an island somewhere just taking a break. Don't
Yeah,
talk so much, Reed. You'll hurt yourself.
yeah. I'd be interested to see if any details leak about the negotiations for this deal and who was involved, like who made this happen. Um,
Obviously Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor. There's always money in the banana stand. Um, yeah, I don't know. And how long these uh, how long these talks have been going on?
As far as I know,
Did you
it
see?
really sounded like Mitch Hurwitz announced it at that New Yorker event. It
Yeah,
seemed like everyone was very surprised by that. So it could have only been like a month or 5 weeks, however long ago that was.
right. Like you know, obviously we'd be interested to know the timeline to see like did they do this in response to their shrinking membership and their public, this sort of public
Or was
fake
it like the
disaster.
Wonder Years where it was just in the works and they
Hmm.
didn't talk about it?
Yeah, did they do an did they whatever do an Apple or do an Amazon on that one? And just kept their cards close to their vest. Although, like, Amazon didn't talk about the Kindle Fire, but everybody knew they were making a tablet.
Right.
For years, people were like, they're making a tablet, they're making a tablet. And they're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And,
Look over here. We have baby clothing.
it was so much a joke how public it was that they were making a tablet that I almost expected it to show up in like my recommendations on Amazon. But whatever.
Ready for shipping tomorrow.
Ready for shipping tomorrow. So yeah, Netflix, Arrested Development. Good, good news for Arrested Development plus some concern equals I don't know what. Carter's a little nervous. And
We'll see
Spark,
what Netflix does in the first quarter next year.
we'll see. They have
Also, it would be nice if they added some more original content before Arrested Development comes along, because that's far off. If they want to really get into the original content game, they gotta start.
they're doing that political show with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that there's one.
Okay, well that's it. This is the we were trying to do a short podcast this week, so I'll just like kind of hit this point and try not to. What did you say I do?
Blabber on.
Blabber on? Yeah.
My dad said Babylon.
Babylon, Babylon, Babylon 5. Nerd.
Just like that.
Just like that. Original content is really hard, and it's really hard to make a network like this. And where you can see that is the Oprah network. Uh,
Oh yeah.
I
Yes,
followed
totally.
the. I followed the. That was really interesting to me, even though I'm like not interested by it at all. Like the stuff that they're putting out there is like, so I'm like, well, whatever, I don't care. But it's like such an
Well,
interesting.
you're not a woman, Carter.
Well, whatever. It was just interesting. Like, ooh, no one's ever done this before. I wonder how it will do. So I followed it, and it's like, yeah, it was, it it had like, when it debuted, and a whole bunch of people watched it, and then it's like, whoo, fell off the charts because they had like two original shows. Everything else was old syndicated.
Archive material.
Yeah, so that's tough. That's really tough. There was a great, I think I heard this on This American Life. Someone tried to make a network called the Puppy Network.
Yes, you did hear it on This American Life. I have
Similar
heard this.
a similar issue with content was there wasn't a lot of original content and the project kind of failed. But it was a really interesting project, and in just like separately, I really wish there was a puppy network
I will
because
try and find that and link it in the
try and
video.
find that. Yeah, like during the Super Bowl, Animal Planet or someone does the Puppy Bowl,
Yeah.
and I always love it because I'm just like I could watch this for a long time, just puppies playing with each other, and it's just I could just have it on and be like, yes,
It makes you feel good, okay about life.
everything in the world is going to be okay because there is a little Siberian husky and he's adorable with his blue eyes.
So you know where I could be watching if the Puppy Network existed. You know where I could be watching it from now, Carter.
I don't know. Why don't you tell me, Segway man?
I could watch it on my new Kindle Fire.
Are you saying you have a Kindle Fire?
I did. I acquired a Kindle Fire this week.
Did it fall off a truck?
I wish it did. No, it was $200. Come on. It almost seems stupid not to buy it.
I'm thinking of getting one.
I have no pad-like device in my life. I can't afford the iPad and I don't need its function right now. I just need a content consuming device and I
Mhm.
was like the Kindle Fire is here, it should just be mine. And so I bought it.
You are the prime demographic for that product. You know.
It totally worked. It worked.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's like it isn't an iPad. You know, you might still buy an iPad someday in the future, but it totally serves a purpose. It's it's brilliant. What do you think?
The screen alone was worth it. It is
Really
a beautiful looking screen.
awesome, awesome. And that's a widescreen
Yes.
screen, right? So like
Yep.
like if you watch a movie, it fills up the whole thing.
Yes.
Is it bright?
The reviews have said that it's not that bright, but I mean, I'm fine.
I've read
I'm
a
not
lot of.
using it outside, so it
Mm-hmm.
seems fine because you're stuck on Wi-Fi anyway.
Yeah, I guess I knew that.
I can't really go anywhere with it, which is fine.
Can you store stuff on it to like watch it later, or do you have to
Yep.
be on Wi-Fi?
You can store. Obviously, you can store books.
Sure.
I don't know if you can it because you're stuck with Hulu and Netflix. I don't know if you can do anything with those, but the Amazon store would allow you to download movies.
Oh, and that's through Prime, right?
Yeah.
That how that and it stores it on the device. It's not streaming.
Yep. Yep. You can
Cool.
download. You've got 8 gig of storage that you can fill up.
That's kind of small.
It is kind of small, but again, I'm
Right.
most of my materials coming from Hulu and Netflix, so it doesn't matter to me. Or YouTube actually,
True.
which that is my only complaint so far that they don't have a dedicated YouTube app, and you have to use either the desktop or mobile version of the website, both of which I hate.
Mm, yeah.
I actually don't mind the YouTube app on my phone. My only complaint is that I can't respond to comments. So I really just wanted a big version of that, and right now I don't have anything.
Yeah. The YouTube app on the iPad is great. I prefer it 100% to the desktop experience. So hopefully they do a similar thing for the
With the
Kindle.
number that they've been selling, I would be very surprised if something doesn't come along soon.
Right. Yeah. Here, the thing about the Kindle is that it's sort of it's a forked version of Android, and it's its own
Right.
little thing. So developers kind of have to learn the Amazon version of all the APIs and the Amazon way to make apps. So it's a little difficult. But yeah, there's so many of them. It's just totally in YouTube's benefit to get an app on there.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is Amazon.com is going to become that big and large from the movie Wall-E. So eventually everyone will have to develop for them because they're going to become the government of the world.
Well, they're gonna have to fight it out with Apple to stay the government of the world as well. Google is like, no, we're here too.
We're
Uh,
stealing all your ideas.
you're right. Um, did you see that there's this just seems like total speculation and rumor to me. I didn't look into it closely, but I retweeted this. Some people are now like business analysts are saying that Amazon's working on a phone.
I did see that.
Yeah, that would be just like a Kindle phone.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, like that seems like it would be intruding on Apple territory more than the Kindle Fire.
Right.
but I don't know. That's
As everyone has pointed out, the Kindle's mostly aimed at selling you Amazon stuff,
Marco Arment, the creator of Instapaper, called it a vending machine.
which it essentially is, and I don't have a problem with it.
I approve. I approve of that. It's hey. How's the
I saw so many reviews the first day that were so polarized one way or the other, and I finally saw CNETs and it was pretty even-handed. And the bad things were the bad things that I already expected, and the good things were things that I wanted. So that was what did it for me.
Yeah? How's the web browser?
It's nice.
Hmm.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, I a lot of reviews were
I've
on
spent most
Facebook.
of my time on YouTube, so I can't really speak for everything.
Yeah, I mean, we can continue to talk about the Kindle as you use it more. A lot of early reviews had pre-production models that things seemed jerky and laggy and slow, and there was a software patch that came with it, and it seems
Yes.
like that took care of a lot of those problems.
Yeah, it's still the main screen is I don't like the carousel function that you can flip through these icons. You can never seem to grab the one that you actually want. But below the carousel, you can just static stick icons, and that works fine. The carousel is just wonky.
Yeah, I've heard bad things, and I don't like that idea at all. It's like it's like cover flow on like an
Yes,
I
that's
and
exactly what it is.
I hate that. I never used cover flow. That seems like one of those like Steve Jobs liked it, so we put it in here, and he's like, and look at cover flow, isn't this great? And everyone's like,
They
not
bought it from
really.
some guy for iTunes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah, there's
anyway,
some independent developer who made a like a plugin for iTunes, and they were like, "We're just gonna buy that."
ugh, I hate it. They put it in the Finder, so I'm like, on a Mac now. The Finder is sort of like the way that you access the way that
It's
you
like
access.
Windows Explorer.
Yeah, it's the file. It's how you get to the file system and the file hierarchy if you like outside of going into the terminal, which frankly, as a computer nerd, I would almost prefer just going to the terminal and dealing with the file structure there. The Finder I find very wonky, but Finder has a version of CoverFlow in it. I'm like, why would you want this? It's horrible. Ugh. This is like one of the worst ideas I think I've
So if you like CoverFlow, make sure that you tweet at Carter
or get a Kindle Fire.
and explain why. I don't like it
Yeah,
either.
if anyone in the sound of my voice does like CoverFlow or the carousel idea for the Kindle Fire, let me know, because like I would be totally willing to hear arguments for why CoverFlow is awesome and why it totally fits into your workflow or the way that you deal with music or files, but it just seems like seems wonky. Uh, although I'm thinking of one argument right now that doesn't work for the Kindle Fire because it doesn't the first most app, it's your last app. Or the first most thing is like the last thing that
Your
you.
most recent one?
Yeah. It doesn't
Yes,
work there
yes, it
because
is like that.
it'll be constantly rearranging itself. But like something with cover flow, see, it doesn't really work for cover flow either because you can put new things into it. But if it was always the same, like if you had like a folder that had just so many things inside of it and no more, you could kind of over time uh use it spatially. You'd be like, I know that I have to flick this far, and that's
Oh yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Like you can like how you can arrange the computer so it's kind of like real life, and you can like have a spatial metaphor in there too. But it just seems like, yeah, just why don't you just arrange the files like spatially in a window, like cover that?
But that is not the way it behaves.
No, no. Yeah, that was the thing about the carousel that really like I thought was annoying, that it would be constantly rearranging itself. So you're basically every time you have to paw and grab at it to like see where that thing you wanted was.
Yeah, I think mostly I just won't use it.
It'd be nice if you turned off.
Maybe someday. Yeah, there's kind of a lack of customization options that I figured they'll probably add with an update or charge you 99 cents for. I don't know.
Maybe they might be they might be going for the whole Apple ethos there. We will figure out what the best thing is and give it to you, and there won't be customization options because you'll just mess it up.
That could be. And boy, my dad is a stunning example of that.
Yeah,
Messing things up when he has the ability to customize.
that's what people do. That's why. people like Apple products and people like products that are designed like that, like the Nest, which maybe we'll talk about sometime in the future. That's a cool thermostat.
It is a cool thermostat.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd be talking about a cool thermostat?
I decided to mention it on five things because I already had it bookmarked, and then you sent me the message, and I was like, okay, well, if Carter's talking about it,
Well, Tony Fadell made it. He designed the iPod, and he was involved in creating the iPhone. He comes from that school of Apple design
yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like people like those things because, maybe version one you're like, oh, there are these things I don't like, and then in version two you're like, oh, they changed those things that I didn't like.
mm-hmm.
Whereas Google and Android, it's sort of like, hey, here's this thing, and you can change anything, and you're like, I don't like that. I guess I'll change it. I'll change this too, and I'll add this on, and then it's like, things don't work together very well. Although I have heard really good things about ice cream sandwich. Stupid name. ICS, as the kids are saying. I've heard great things about it. That finally kind of feels like they have something. So
Maybe it's all about the name. You have to have a really stupid name in order for the update to be successful.
really stupid name. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, I Josh Topolsky reviewed the new Google Nexus S Prime HD, whatever they stupid naming conventions in that world. But the new Google phone that has Android 4 on it, and seems like a really solid device. It looks really cool, and I don't know. I think they finally have something that might be able to compete with an iPhone, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Just as I'm getting ready to make the switch.
As you're getting ready, yeah, but
I've
oh,
only
the
had one Android device, so it's not like I'm entrenched.
right, and it's like Android's on lots of things. I would think you would have sort of a loyalty and an affinity toward one of the like one of the OEMs. Like I like HTC or I like Samsung or I like
Right.
Nokia. I don't know. As opposed to like I like Android, and that's sort of like saying like I like cars. It's like yeah, what
Yeah, I
kind?
would say before I had my HTC, like I had a little bit of Samsung loyalty going on.
Yeah.
I bought several Samsung devices in a row, and then I switched to HTC because of Bobby, because he so highly recommended The Incredible.
The Incredible was a great device when it came out. It was the closest thing to an iPhone, I thought.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. So
I
anyway,
still like it. I'm using it till I don't until I'm eligible or whatever.
yeah. Well, there you go. Very cool. Sean's got a tablet now. Although I don't know. I don't call my iPad a tablet. I wouldn't call the Kindle Fire a tablet.
I would
You
not
have a
call
fire.
it a tablet.
You have a fire.
I would just call it, yeah, it's the same thing a Kindle ever was. It just now, instead of just books, it shows you a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Yay, Amazon. All right. Well, we got our Coen Brothers movie, man.
Yeah.
You,
Let's not turn this into an endless discussion on how it is contrasting and comparing to the Odyssey. Although we can mention it.
I had to. That, yeah. That was like a whole like a solid 2 weeks of my freshman literature class
Yeah.
was we're gonna read the Odyssey, we're gonna watch this movie, and you're gonna do an essay. Because it's like, yes, they said that they took it from the Odyssey. Of course, there are parallels.
It
It says like in
says it at
the
the beginning of the movie.
title credits. It's not a secret. It's not like, hey, did you notice that John Goodman only has one eye? Whoa.
But you know what else they've said? They said that before they wrote the script, they did not read the Odyssey.
They just sort of knew of the story.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I watched like one of the older versions of the Odyssey, I would have enough of an understanding to do exactly what they had done. Like take all the little nods that they wanted and the general story structure, and that's all they really took.
Yeah, it almost does seem like someone who had like sort of heard about the Odyssey was like, yeah, let's do that, and it
Exactly.
doesn't
Exactly.
quite match up. You're like, there was something with cows. We should have cows. Oh,
So, oh brother, where art thou?
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Interesting cinematography fact. You might know this. This was the first film that was completely digitally colorized.
I learned that afterwards because in my notes here I have, wow, it seems like they did a whole bunch of work to make it look sepia without using a sepia filter. And then I Googled
Exactly.
that and I'm like, how did they do that? It's like, did they really just have like really intentional lighting choices and really intentional uh, set design? And it was like, well, sort of, but mostly they just spent weeks and weeks and weeks digitally changing the color so that everything seems sepia.
Yeah, the opening scenes start in this field where they're on a chain gang, and the sky is white.
Yeah.
It's just completely white.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
I was watching that, and I knew about the digital colorization, and I wasn't even thinking about it yet. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "This is practically black and white right now." And then there were a lot of other movies or there were a lot of other scenes in the movie that felt almost black and white.
yeah. It's very intentional, very clever, very awesome cinematography. It was nominated. Did it win best cinematography that year?
I don't think it won, but it
I
was
don't think
not.
it won. That is that's criminal. They should have won. I don't know what movie won, so I shouldn't say that.
The Man Who Wasn't There, we said like it actually felt like a movie that was could have been made back then. I feel like this took place back then, but the conventions of the movie basically felt like a modern film.
Yeah, was struggling to figure out how I want to say this, and then so this probably won't make any sense. But it feels like it feels well. Here's a way to put it. It feels like someone read a John Steinbeck book, or like someone read about or saw some things about the 30s and the Depression, and then had
Hmm.
a dream about it. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everything is a little too perfect. Everything's a little too ideal. Like, everything's a little too extreme. Like, it seemed, none of this could have actually happened back in that time. It's just
no way.
way too crazy. But it's close to reality. It's sort of like it's right next door to reality. So
Yeah, it's
I
filled
guess I
with
made sense.
characters like the who's the criminal, the bank
Babyface,
robber.
babyface Nelson.
Babyface Nelson. It's filled with these like fast talking, like very unrealistic but very screwball comedy from the 40s kind of characters.
Hmm.
And George Clooney himself is one. I mean, he's basically Cary Grant.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the mustache, he's got the hair.
My
Um,
hair.
oh, my hair. He's always very concerned about it. I'm a Dapper Dan man. Also, so I have this in my notes. I don't know if this will make sense to anyone but me, but it's almost every scene is I put like subject, object, verb. Like almost every scene is like setting it up, doing it, and here's the payoff. Like here's the
Uh-huh.
joke, or here's the thing, whatever. Yeah, almost every scene plays out that way so that they can have some sort of dramatic or comedic satisfaction.
Yeah,
Almost none of it.
unlike The Man Who Wasn't There, it seems like Fate has a real sense of humor in this movie.
Right. Both of these movies are very much about fate. Um, and I remember in that freshman literature class, thank you, Mrs. Robbins, we talked about like the structures of Greek mythological stories, and it's always, it's like you can draw a circle around all of the choices that people can make in Greek mythology, and as they try to get out of the circle, fate gets them right back into the circle. That's sort of what happens in this movie a lot. It's like, like how, oh hey, it seems like they're going in this wacky direction. Oh, it's taking them right to where they need to be. It's like
Yeah,
very dramatically ironic, I
a
guess.
lot of coincidences and right time, right place.
Right. I think they go through like 7 cars in that movie.
Yeah, there's a great montage. There's only one montage in this movie, which I noticed because a lot of movies can't get away with just one montage, and one of them included the final car boost of the movie. I was like, "There's another car they stole."
Well, okay, so I have to just point something out because I'm a lover of coffee.
Yeah.
They drink percolated coffee in this movie. because that's what you do if you're like on a camp. But
Okay, yeah.
percolated coffee is literally the worst thing you can do to coffee in the world. Like, do not. I know that they weren't doing this intentionally, but I hate that we like basically Americans or Uni- United States Americans. I know that there are some Canadians who are plugged in with us, but Americans like try to glorify and idealize that time in our period when you'd put a percolator on a campfire and drink that, and it's like, oh, the good old days. It's like, no, that coffee
Really?
is the worst. Yeah, don't you feel that sense like that cowboy kind of thing?
I don't know. I didn't realize people had such nostalgia for that.
Or like thinking of like commercials for coffee, and they always start out with like showing you a percolator with the coffee hitting the top of the little thing that it hits at the top. No, it makes that sound. You have no
This is
idea
how
what it's.
much I care about coffee.
Oh man. Well, anyway, don't drink percolated coffee. It is
Okay,
terrible.
I will file that away.
File that away in your notes. If anyone cares, maybe next week I'll tell you why percolated coffee is so bad. My notes. This movie has so many great lines. This is like one of those kinds of movies. So most of my notes are just me like copying down lines that I thought were funny. They loved him up and turned him into a horny toad.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I love this movie, and it is just it is just beautiful to watch. It's a lot like I think I said this when we were watching Man Who Wasn't There, but like almost every scene you could just take like a screenshot of it, and it's like a postcard or
Definitely.
something that you could frame and put up on.
And it's definitely one of their movies that like it pays tribute to a specific area of the country. They seem to like when they like in No Country for Old Men, their landscapes are just like stunningly beautiful. And in this movie you get stunning like landscapes of Mississippi that are just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's incredibly wonderfully beautiful and pays a lot of homage to that period of American life, and not just in the visuals but in the other really important part aspect of this movie, the music. Music is really super important in No Brother From
Music
Lookout.
totally makes the movie.
Yeah, it ties together all of the emotions of the characters and the scenes, and it sets the tone for the time period, and is really really good.
It is good. It is that the song that went on to win the Oscar. Um, now I'm missing the title.
Man of Constant Sorrow.
Man of Constant Sorrow really was written 100 years ago, and it doesn't seem to matter. It anyone can listen to that song and be like, "Wow, this is a catchy song."
Not to go off in this too much, and I don't know a whole lot about music, so I shouldn't. But do you listen to or like Jack White or the
Yeah,
White Stripes?
totally.
I love that music, and I think that the sort of ideas that he's playing with, a lot of bands are playing with these days, and that uh, he Jack White is so influenced by blues music from the 20s.
Yes.
Uh, and there's a reason, and I think he's expressed this in a documentary that I saw. Just like that music is so good. Nobody.
Is it the documentary about the guitar?
It was either that one or the one with him and Meg White, the one that was just about the White Stripes. But
Okay, I did
I
not see
did
that
see
one.
the one with um uh who was in that?
There's one about the guitar that it has him, Jimmy Page, and The
The
Edge.
Edge. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did see that one. He might have mentioned it in there.
At the very beginning of that movie, Jack White, just in almost total silence, assembles a guitar out of a piece of wood, a cable that he breaks off a fence, a nail, and the neck of a broken glass bottle. And he just plugs it into an amp and he's like, "Who says you need to buy a guitar?"
Yeah, that it's a great
And it's just amazing.
it's a great movie. Everyone should watch it. Do you know the name?
Nope, I'm gonna put it in the dump in
It's
the
in
link
it's
dump.
in the link dump. We apologize that we don't know the name.
Jack White guitar movie.
Jack White guitar movie. It was really good. Uh, one of the things that I really remember about it was that the acoustics of the house that Jimmy Page was recording in played a huge role in like one of the albums.
Oh, it was When the Levee Breaks. It was
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah.
They put John Bonham's drums like in the bottom of this stairwell, and it just made them sound like they were 100 times larger.
Yeah. Really awesome movie. Really three really interesting people that you don't really hear a lot from.
Yeah, and you're right. Jack White totally ties into that like blues roots kind of thing. And there were real people in this movie. Like Babyface Johnson was a real person. Pappy O'Daniel was a real person, although he was actually in Texas, not Mississippi.
Hmm.
And then the the colored fella who plays the guitar,
The guitar.
Tommy, is based on Robert Johnson, who is the guy who wrote the song Crossroads.
Yeah.
And that actually is most of the impetus for the story of the movie, although they kind of just go around that fact.
All
They
right.
pick him up at the crossroads, and every moment after that is based on the devil trying to find them.
Yeah, the devil who is played by that I can't think of the actor's name, but he was the principal in Malcolm in the Middle.
He was the like superintendent of the military school that Francis gets sent to,
That's right. That's right.
and
I
he's fantastic on both.
I loved that show.
I did
Such an underrated show. How did we get to talking about Malcolm in the Middle?
too.
Well, the rest of the music is also fantastic, and it won the Grammy that year for album of the year or best soundtrack. But I think it was album. I think it was the album of the year that year in 2000. Um, and it's great. I think my favorite is Big Rock Candy Mountain.
It says it won Grammy Award for Album of the Year. It also won Best Country Collaboration. And oh, it was for Man of Constant Sorrow.
Cool.
It was sung by a man named Dan Terminsky, to give credit where credit is due. Because it was not George. It was not George.
Sorry, George.
But he did a good job of lip syncing.
He did.
I've seen much worse lip syncing. I've seen worse lip syncing in like Miley Cyrus videos.
I've seen worse lip syncing in real life. Yeah. Uh, w- One point that I don't know why I want to make it because it's sort of in the weeds, but I'm gonna just put it out there. I felt that the climax in the at the whatever at the event that Pappy Daniel was at,
Yeah.
where they're trying to convince the campaign manager to switch sides. I thought that that was a real jab at American politics and about and American voters, because if you think about it, the whole reason why those voters changed their mind in that room and across the country was because one of the guys didn't like the band and the song that we all liked.
It totally is. That's the only reason.
Had nothing to do really about the fact that I can't
He was like the dragon in the KKK.
that he was saying it like they didn't like it that he didn't like them, not that they had no problem with the fact that he thought that they were all black and that he's in the KKK and that he burns crosses and I thought that I didn't think about it. I've seen this movie a bunch of times and it didn't occur to me until this time, and I was like, wow, that says a lot about what the Coen brothers think about American politics, I think, and
Yep,
about
the entire state switched sides in about 2 seconds because Pappy O'Daniel liked the band and the other guy didn't.
right. And throughout the whole thing, it's like, why do they like the guy in the first place? Because he's got a midget and a broom. Happy Daniel's like, damn, we don't. His son is like, maybe we should get a midget, but smaller. And
A smaller one.
he's like, we can't do that. We'll look like Johnny Come Latelys. That reminds me of Mitt Romney's. I can't have immigrants working here. For Pete's sake, I'm running for president. It's just like, oh man, like, are we really that simple? Are we really that? I don't know. I don't think we are on, in some ways, but in other ways, I think the Coen brothers are probably right on spot.
Yeah.
Yikes. Sorry to. This is where Shawn and Carter have a podcast gets real.
We try and keep it light on the politics.
Yeah. Um. All right. Yeah, well, so
If you haven't seen this movie, we haven't really ruined anything, so that should not stop you. You really should see it. And it's not, unlike a lot of their movies, it's not rated R.
That's true. I can't.
It's pretty family friendly.
Yeah, not a lot of cursing. The cursing is sort
The
of
cursing is all based in the time period that it is.
right. Yeah,
Dang, nabbit!
it's excellent. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say, the guy who recorded them, what's I can't I we've mentioned him before. He's Milton in Office Space.
Yes,
I can never take him seriously in anything.
Stephen Root is
I
his name.
can never take him seriously in anything because it's just like, no, you were Milton in Office
Oh, he's
Space.
he's so good. He's like a chameleon.
Yeah,
If
he
that was
was
the first time I would have seen him, I would have been like, wow, I think that guy's actually blind.
he was very convincingly blind for a sighted person.
Yeah,
That's one of the rarer sentences in the English language, by the way. He's very convincingly blind for a sighted person. I don't think that gets said very frequently.
this is the only time you're going to hear it this week. I promise you.
Oh, definitely, definitely. If anyone else hears someone utter those words, definitely tweet at us with the hashtag SCHP because that's like monumental.
When I was in Spanish in high school, we were conjugating the verb to be born, and she gave us all the forms except for the I present tense, and we were like, "What's up with that?" And she's like, "Well, no one would ever use the I am being born." Like, and she gave it to us, and it's Nazco, Nazco, and she was like, "You will never say that ever." And that was like the only word that we would ever say after that.
Nice go.
I am being born.
What if you were saying like, that's totally wrong. She's
But
completely wrong.
no,
What
no,
if?
no, no, no. You're gonna talk about some like metaphorical thing.
Oh,
There's a different word for that.
like born again?
Yes, there's a different word.
Okay.
When someone brought that up, she was like, "Nope, this is like literally being born."
Like okay, like the physical process of birth.
Yes, like that will not apply to anything else.
Maybe in some sort of. Oh, I can think of one. Dune.
Okay,
Leah was conscious in the womb. She could have said, "I'm being born right now" because she
in
could talk.
Spanish.
She knew every language because she had the Reverend Mother
I'm
like
just
whatever
showing
thing.
my ignorance of Dune at this point.
Yeah, you are. And now I feel like a nerd. You should read Dune. It's so good, man.
So on American Horror Story this week,
They're also birth and stuff.
speaking of in the womb,
My notes, I just stopped taking notes because I couldn't because
I did too.
my notes are like, "Whoa, what?" I was like, "Oh, crap, Bo." And like just things like Frank is hilarious and what the hell is going on? And I'm like, "These are notes."
That's not a note.
Like I can't like what?
Those are notes that you would hand to the network before it airs. What the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on? Yeah. So this week's episode, I liked it better. Last week's episode was real low for me. I thought that for me personally, I thought they brought it back a little bit.
That was your valley.
Yep. Which is good because I still enjoyed it. It was just sort of like, this is slow and boring, and this was also a little slow, but I thought it was less boring, mostly because we learned a lot of things.
We did learn a lot. We learned about one of other Constance's other kids. I'm still unsure if we've seen all of them or not. I don't know.
This one's name is Beau, which is funny because Beau means beautiful in French, and he is a terrifying,
He's nothing but the opposite of that.
right? So we learn about that, and this is a real note that I had. Is Frank the main character of this series?
Maybe.
You know, like that. This was like an episode about Frank, all about Frank. You want to know
Wait,
about Frank?
Frank?
Frank, is that his name? Yeah, Frank, the burned guy.
Larry.
Larry.
I knew who you were
Exactly.
talking about for some reason,
I
and I
guess I was
wasn't
thinking
putting.
of.
And then I was like, wait,
Oh
Larry.
man. Larry. Frank. I was thinking of
Frank the zombie.
let's say that. I'm like I have no idea why I said Frank. It's in my notes. I like Frank.
Yes,
Larry.
we learned that the series lied to us.
Oh man. Larry lied to us.
Why am I not surprised that the series is going out of its way to fill our heads with disinformation?
Yeah, it's like our eyeballs are unreliable narrators in this series, you know? Like we saw Larry murder his family.
Right. They showed us that scene
They
and
showed it to
it
us.
was a lie.
It was a lie. He did not kill his family. He was in love
Intentionally.
intentionally. He super strange. was in love with, wait for it, Constance?
Yeah, he moved into her house after she moved out. She moved next door, and he fell in love with her.
Right. Now, they didn't, I don't think that they explicitly showed this, but I think that she basically was just manipulating him to get back into the house. Like,
Well, I imagine that that's just what she does.
that's just her MO. That's what
Yes.
she always does. And I'm sure she had no real affection for her because Constance just seems motivated by beautiful men, beautiful, sexy boys.
Right.
And Frank, god dang,
Hank.
Larry is anything but. Doesn't he just seem like a Frank? Doesn't he look like, I don't know.
Dear Ryan and Brad, can you please change Larry's name to Frank for the rest of the series? Thank you, Shawn and Carter.
Who knows? Maybe his name isn't Larry. What else have you been lying to us about?
You've actually seen the next episode, you know.
I have. Ooh, the next episode's about the Rubber Man, who makes
Yes, it
an appearance
is.
in this episode. Super sexual this episode as well.
Right, because they bring in this guy who is not Persian. He's Armenian, although that doesn't stop Constance from continuing to call him Persian, who is interested in tearing down the house.
Right, when he gets introduced, so so where things where this like gets set up is they have an open house. The name of this episode is Open House. And he shows up. He likes the house. Once again, they mention that the fixtures are Tiffany.
Yeah, what's up
I
with that?
don't know why they keep mentioning that. Seems maybe it's important. I don't know. Tiffany,
Because ghosts are especially receptive to Tiffany glass.
maybe I don't know. And he expresses an interest in buying the house uh, to the realtor and to Viv and to Moira, who is in her sexy Moira-ness because there's a man involved.
Right.
And he makes a point of saying, "Yeah, there's this other house. It's like two-thirds the size of this place, but it's like twice as much. And I'm thinking about it. This place seems nicer, but that other place has a swimming pool." And Moira, in sexy Moira like attire, is like, "Well, you could build a swimming pool right out back." He's like, "Yeah, I could." And
Just tear down that gazebo, build, just dig it up.
yeah. So Moira
And
thinks,
we still don't know exactly like what that means. Like Moira's bones are down there, and obviously she cannot leave the property. But there are lots of other people who have died on the property whose bones don't remain there, but they do.
yeah, maybe the bones are there, maybe they're not. I don't know. So like the episode kind of gave us a head fake on this one. I think. I don't know if her bones being on the property is what's keeping her there, or the fact that she was murdered and no one knows it is what's keeping her there.
Okay, yeah, because she did say to Constance, like once they dig him up, they're going to figure out that you shot me.
Yeah, and you'll go to prison, and it's like, is
You
that
B word.
right? And if you think about it, uh, almost all of the people who have died on that property, nobody knows about it, except like the Montgomerys and the gay dudes.
Right.
But no one knows the
When
how.
they refer to murder house, they're not really referring to all the murders.
Right. Although it is true that no one knows how Zachary Quinto and Chad got murdered because they were murdered by the Rubber Man, and everyone in the world thinks that it was a murder suicide.
Right.
So, so yes, Moira uses her sexuality to entice the Armenian, the Persian, and she thinks everything's hunky dory. Constance finds out, nah, I don't really want to buy that house. I just want to tear it down and put like a car park
Yeah, Constance
up,
goes to his house and
which is
like
weird.
freaks him out.
Yeah. Um, I think Constance thinks that she has some sort of sexual power that she really doesn't have.
She might have had it 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
It's wearing off.
yeah. Lorraine, uh, Larry's wife, makes a point of saying that she's a beautiful woman, but that was back like 20 years
Right.
ago.
Did you even notice like the digital work that they did to her?
No,
They spent like, thanks Alicia, $150,000 to make her look younger in this episode and in the other one that she appeared when she shot her husband and Moira.
didn't notice it.
They did like a Benjamin Button on her face, and I didn't know that till after I saw the first one, and I was like, I never would have known that. And this one, I actually paid attention. I was like, okay, I can tell that they did something, but why? Why did it cost that much money?
Yeah, they totally should have spent that on, I don't know what,
A
better equipment.
tripod for their camera so that not every angle is crooked.
Shut up. They're they're Dutch angles. They're intentional. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, it is.
I just want a few shots that aren't like crooked. That's all.
Uh, so he, here's a note that I have. Okay, so Constance had a son who, and I have in capital letters Frank, but I guess it's Larry, who Larry murdered, and Addie played with in the basement. Damn it, guys, you've got to stop messing with my world so hard. So Larry, we find out in the past, killed Bo. He smothered Bo to death, although maybe that didn't.
At Constance's request.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The state or whatever, child services was going to come in and take him away because I don't know, is it not cruel treatment to keep your child chained up in the attic? Is there something wrong with that?
Yeah, she seems to have some affection for Bo. She's upset and goes to him when she thinks that the house is going to be torn down.
Well, of course she can be affectionate to him after he's dead.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He's been
She,
dead for over 15 years at this point.
yeah. Uh, he's been dead since Tate was shot
Right.
because they go back to 1994, and that I think one of the reasons why these people know about Bo is because the police raided the house. Um, so yeah, further confirmation about how the house works, uh,
We get way more information about Dr. Montgomery and his wife and actually exactly how they ended.
yeah, let's save that and Viv till the for the end because I want to just because we spoil this. I want to finish off the Persian guy, the Armenian guy,
Whatever he is.
literally and figuratively. I want to finish him off. Uh, Constance appeals to Moira's sense when she finds out that the house is going to be torn down. It's like, I hate you, you hate me, you want to get out of here. I think you're a whore. um,
Well, I don't think she needs to think that. That's pretty objectively obvious.
and it's sort of true. But it's like, hey, you were lied to by this man, and then they make a point of saying like, yeah, all men lie.
I
And
threw that in even before they said it. I was like, he's a man.
he's a man.
Gonna
Let's
lie.
work. Let's work together and stop this because they're going to tear the house down, and we're going to lose all of our friends and all of our power. Larry says to Ben, the house has power, so there's
And Ben
probably
continues to ignore him.
Ben is crazy. I hate Ben.
Ben still thinks that what's her face? Hayden is running around.
Ben is delusional. Have you noticed his instinctive move in any situation is just to start talking louder at people and get angry?
Yes, and I'm fine with that being like the effect of the house. But if he were playing a rational character, I would have stopped watching by now.
Ugh, I hate him. I hope they kill him. I hope that we just get more of the cop who seems much more likable generally
And sexy.
and sexy. So anyway, Moira invites. Apparently, ghosts can make phone calls. She invites. Oh, I guess we knew that from Hayden. She invites the Armenian over for some hanky panky in the basement.
I like that.
Further proving in everyone's minds that I am actually just a dorky dad with bad jokes and stupid sayings. Um, they go down to the basement, and Moira pulls a Last House on the Left on the Armenian,
Oh yeah,
if you know what I'm saying there. She
I
bites.
do. I don't want to un-PG it for everyone.
Well, anyway, she she lures him to the basement, and her and Larry collaboratively kill him.
Well, Constance gets to watch. The only alive person. Oh no, Larry's alive. We
We
think.
think. I love that we said that at the same time. Everything in this show, you could be like, we think.
We think his name might be Frank.
His name might be Frank. And Constance asks, "Is he dead yet?" And Larry's like, "Not quite yet." Larry's very good at knowing when people are about to be dead. Like
Uh huh.
Hayden, oh, she's not quite dead. A couple more.
He's got a spidey sense for it.
He does. She says, make sure you get him off the property before he expires. I wouldn't want to have that sack of something, roaming around the house. So yeah, it's like if you die on the property, you are tied to the property somehow.
Definitely.
Like she said it, although
You don't seem to have a choice about the matter.
no. Okay, so there's that. The rest of the stuff going on in the episode are Violet, Tate, and the history of the house, the Montgomerys, and Viv and her pregnancy. And did you get the vibe that the doctor might be in on this?
I didn't.
You didn't?
You
I
think so?
Well, because the doctor was like, everything's great, and we'll tell you the big thing we learn about here in a second. But like the doctor twice in this episode was like, didn't see anything weird about that baby. And then Viv is like, I want to do another one of those scans, and the doctor's like, oh, you don't need to do that. And she's like, I really would like to. And the doctor
I
tries to convince her,
I don't know. I think that would be the pretty standard doctor reaction. Like, just stop freaking out. It's fine.
but the doctor said that she looked at like stuff about the baby, like pictures, and Viv asked like, does it have hooves? And she's like, oh no, it's just a perfectly normal baby. But we know it has hooves.
But that doesn't mean it's going to show up. Maybe it did that once to the religious woman.
That's the one thing I was thinking of. Maybe the baby is a like Moira in some ways, and some
That's what
people.
I think. I think it is. It is if it's supposed to be the Antichrist or whatever. It will appear that way to some.
I'm suspicious of the doctor, but I
I'm not.
okay. We'll see. Well, the doctor tells us something earth-shattering. I did not think this was going to happen.
I didn't either, and I was surprised.
Viv has twins.
Whoa.
Whoa, man, you're freaking me out, Brad and Ryan. Come on.
So thinking along those lines, there's no reason that there could not be a baby in there that is Ben's and one is that belongs to the Rubber Man.
That's not how it works, Shawn.
It could work.
One egg gets fertilized and then it splits.
Not always. I'm
Okay,
totally right on this.
I I think that okay, maybe that's what the show is going for, but I find that implausible. But yes, there could be a Ben baby and there could be a Rubberman baby, and maybe they'll try and kill each other. I don't know.
In the womb?
In the womb,
That would be awesome.
like a fight
Can
to the
we
death.
put a camera in there?
Jeez. Well, it'll be on a bad angle, and you'll be frustrated.
Fraternal twins usually occur when two fertilized eggs are implanted in the uterus wall at the same time.
Fraternal twins, fine, fine, fine. Identical, fine. Identical twins are not that way. They don't
But
work.
I don't think they're going to be identical. I think we're going to have one perfectly fine child and one bad child.
Yeah, I'm I'm wondering now about twins. Would would it seem like her pregnancy was going faster because she has twins? Is that something with twins, or is that not anything?
It's not like the way that that woman freaked out. No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Okay. Well,
She wouldn't have like been 3 months further than she thought. No
why
way.
didn't the why didn't the operator or the technician say that she had twins?
Because she didn't say anything before she saw what she saw and passed out.
No, 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 no. But Viv saw her in the church. Why?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Here's a theory.
She was
What
driven to
if?
hysterics.
What if? Uh, what if it is only one baby, but it can take on multiple appearances or like some crazy, crazy, wacky stuff like that?
I really think it's just twins.
All right, Shawn.
And I really think the doctor isn't in on it, but we'll see.
Okay, now that one I will, we'll see. I have my thoughts. I think that she's whatever. So that's what's going on with Viv. The Rubber Man makes an appearance because Viv is having some quiet time alone with herself. No other way that I think we can put it on the podcast. And she starts thinking about the cop, and she has a similar experience to when in the first episode where it's like the cop kind of goes back and forth between the cop and Ben, and then the Rubber Man gets in there
Yeah. And
for
you're
some
like, ugh. And
for some
so was
action.
she. She was like, ugh.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if she consciously experienced that, because like
Well, she definitely saw someone in the rubber suit who she assumed to be Ben. So I have to assume that
right.
she knows there's she actually did that.
Yeah, but then when they actually had sex in the first episode, like she thought like she did see Ben sometimes, and sometimes she saw the Rubber Man. Same thing here. I'm like I don't. It seems like the adults in the house have not cannot consciously process that there are evil things in the house, even though they all feel like bad.
I
You know.
bet they can. I bet it's just an overriding force of the house.
That's so Violet now. Tate says the reason why she can see ghosts is that she's evolved. The very first thing I said out loud was, "Is Violet dead?
Oh boy.
Do you think Violet's dead?"
I sure hope not.
Me
I don't
too.
I
Have you
don't I don't think so. I
guessed
think
that we
I feel like she's just more receptive.
haven't seen her outside of the house in a long time?
Oh crap. Except for that one time when she went on Halloween, which would be
All of
fine.
the only time we've seen her outside of the house is at school, and that was in the first episode. A lot of stuff could have happened since then.
Oh man.
Did she cut herself? And
Well, now you've put that in my head and I don't know.
I'm just wondering if that I immediately thought to the first episode where she cuts herself, and Tate says, "If you want to kill yourself, you got to do it the other way."
Which is exactly what I said, by the way.
Creep. Uh,
Sorry, I just for some reason know that. I guess I know it from the Wes Anderson movie.
mm-hmm.
Royal Tenenbaums, that one.
Royal Tenenbaums. I love Wes Anderson movies. Maybe we should do those too. Um, anyway, that was I had that sinking suspicion that maybe Violet is not of this world any longer.
Oh, crap. I did not think of that at all.
Sorry, man. Hopefully she's alive because she's like the only likable character we have left.
Totally.
she they have a family dinner. She totally puts Viv and Ben in their place.
Yes.
Totally. I was like, yeah, I'm
You
with you.
drag us across the country to fix your marriage, and now you're breaking up anyway, and you move into this house that I really like, and now you're selling it, and why in the world are you concerned that I'm depressed?
Yeah, it's just obvious. It's
You did it to
you
me.
did it. You did it. Yeah. So lot of stuff going on in this.
Hey, and really good news for the series. This is the second highest rated show after the pilot at this point.
Yeah, that is great.
They
Great.
topped 3 million again, which is the first time since the first episode.
It has higher viewership overall than Mad Men does on AMC. So it has a great demographic. So we will see lots more of this, including next week when we are. We've been told we will discover the identity of the Rubber Man, but who knows if that's true?
Right. We'll be shown something. We'll have to decide whether we believe it or not.
Who knows?
And it looks like there are 5 more episodes after that, including a double episode on December 21st to end the first season.
Ooh, that's exciting. I like that. That's great. That means that they're going to have a lot going on, and they're thinking about it ahead of time. In some ways, I think that they are just sort of like figuring this out as they go along, and that makes me think that they're thinking ahead, which is good.
That's fine. I'm fine with them figuring it out as they go along.
Yeah. Um,
That's basically what they did with Lost, and I was not a fan of Lost, but everyone who was seemed fine with it.
yeah, that's true. I One of my final notes is Ben smokes. He smokes at Larry's house. Did we know that?
I think he's probably regressing.
Okay.
Like I think he's going nuts, and he probably has smoked in his past, and he was just like, I need a cigarette right now.
Could be related to male obsession with fire in the house.
Oh, sure, totally.
Because Larry totally gets it on.
Larry's like, let me see that fireplace.
He's just
Can you just light it?
he's like all about it. The last thing that we have to mention before we say goodbye is we now know everything there is to know about the Montgomerys and their baby.
Yeah. Dr. Montgomery brought that thing back to life? Question mark? Of course we didn't see it because they don't show us anything.
They don't show us anything, but he says that he used one of the beating hearts. So now we know he used one of the beating hearts of one of the girls that we helped to
Right.
resurrect the baby. So yes, I think I said this a while back. I'm like, is he killing some of those girls? So yeah, he was killing some of those
He's
girls.
killed at least one.
Killed at least one, probably maybe just one, maybe more. He takes one of their hearts, puts it in the baby that he stitched back together, and apparently it is now alive.
it's and Nora goes upstairs and looks at it, and we don't get to see what she's looking at, but it's just making like some frightening hissing sound.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So Nora has an emotional breakdown and she snaps. She comes back, sees Charles. She's got scratches all on her breast. She says that she had tried to nurse it. Why would she try to nurse it? Why?
She's probably going as crazy as he is.
She's crazy. And she says, like, but it wasn't milk that it was after. It wanted something more.
I love the way Nora talks.
Yeah, Nora's got that East Coast affect, which is great. And she's just horrified by the situation. Charles is totally high on laudanum, and then she shoots him, shoots herself in the mouth.
Which explains that big hole in the back of her head that we've seen a couple times.
Explains that 6 cents hole in the back of her head. Yeah, not great. Not great.
But good episode.
Good episode. Good episode. I enjoyed it, and I'm waiting. Oh, here's a note that I had. This is just sort of a Carter's random question. Do lesbians see Moira as sexy?
Ooh, good question. And that I don't have an answer, but that reminds me, as the developer guy was dying, being suffocated,
Mm-hmm.
for a split second, you see the inside of the bag that he's being suffocated under, and Moira is old.
I'm wondering if it's not that men see her as sexy and women don't, but if people who are attracted to her see her sexy.
Or maybe it's entirely under her control.
Ooh, then it's really weird. She's like, I'm gonna be sexy now, and I'm old.
Maybe she gets to choose.
Maybe, I don't know. All questions that I'm sure that they won't answer, and just give us
Probably.
more confusing questions. All right, man. Well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.